What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am lucky to be here with another awesome guest, one who actually hit me up. I mean, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, discussing the possibility of an interview, and we eventually figured it out. And I'm so glad we could possibly do this after doing some research and listening to their music and understanding that Gwen is a damn fine band outside of New York. And that's all you need to know. And we're going to get into that and much more here with Kai. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome.
Of course, dude. So, I mean, the first thing I want to discuss is what we were just talking about. Crossmaster or Cross, I guess, is this like awesome. It's kind of like Geese-like, but also I think heavier. And then I hear some aspects of the screamo scene, which I love. And I mean, everything about it, like, it's a really, really great, I think, masterfully written and produced song. So, tell me the story behind that.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. So that's our upcoming single coming on March 7th. And well, I mean, a lot of the songs for Gwen is usually I write it by myself. I come up with the idea and then I present it to the band, and we all kind of work on it together. But this one was kind of interesting because me and the producer of the band, Julian, who was also the bassist, we kind of were just like fucking around, just like trying to make something kind of crazy and experimental. And we found that little guitar, we tuned the guitar in all sorts of weird ways, and we just made that riff, and we just kind of built on that. And it's just been this kind of project that we've been doing in the back, and then it developed into something actually really cool. So yeah, we kind of just wanted to make because we're working on an album, and we wanted a cut from the album that's a little bit more like heavy and eccentric and kind of out there. So that's what we've been working towards. And yeah, the vibe of the song, we're trying to make it like cult like and kind of this like kind of almost demonic, I don't know, thrilling kind of thing, with a lot of like sharp changes. And that's kind of I think what it ended up being. I definitely hear the influences you said. I mean, I do some screamo in the verses, and it's yeah. I guess yeah. I mean, that's all. I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really excellent. And I honestly, the favorite thing I've heard so far is just hearing the genre kind of shift that I hear. And almost every single one of your songs has a climax and then it has a shift, which is excellent songwriting. And what are some of your influences when it comes to that? Because I mean, I hear all these different bands and yet it's so seamlessly thought through, you know?
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it is. We almost didn't mean to do that, but we actually were talking about that earlier, where we kind of have this songwriting thing where we always have a really intense genre switch, or at least intense like stylistic switch in our songs. Like "Keep Me Alive," our first one has like the EDM breakdown at the end of the song, and then "5 Miles West" goes into like a screamo punk thing. And now Cross, goes from that kind of Radiohead almost like or more electronic drum and bass thing into like a Deftonesy or like heavy kind of outro with like this really epic build. Um, I'm not too sure why we do that. I think I as a songwriter like just have a lot of influence as also just like constantly have different ideas. And um since our band, like we're together all the time, we're working on stuff all the time, but we have an extremely talented producer as like a core member of the band, and he does a lot of just like crazy wacky shit with the DAW, just like doing these crazy drops or crazy effects, and we play with that a lot to kind of enhance it and make it more like an experience, so it kind of just naturally happens. um but in terms of like inspiration, you know, I think the basis of all of our music is like that kind of, alternative indie rock. That's kind of like the New York wave right now, or just indie rock in general, with like a modern twist of like electronics. But I mean, I don't know. We're kind of all over the place with influences. We love Radiohead. We love Pink Floyd, Deftones. You mentioned Geese. In terms of newer bands, we're massive fans of Geese, and we're so definitely like some of the more, I don't know, the way they take kind of the more rootsy classic rock elements of rock music and then kind of absurdify it. We try to take that a bit. And of course, with the lens of every influence we ever have, we really try to make sure we're switching it into a unique way, and we're kind of like making it into this weirdo kind of music, which it feels like sometimes. But yeah. What else? I mean, we love Black Midi, Black Country New Road, a lot of the newer indie rock stuff, and then I don't know, some of my favorites. I've been getting it. Porno for Pirates has been a favorite, as well as Jane's Addiction, of course. I've been listening to a lot of Jeff Buckley. Um, yeah, and Cross. I think we were just taking a lot of that and kind of taking a lot of drum and bass and like glitch core stuff from now and trying to incorporate it. So that was a bit of a long answer, but there,
No, it's
there you go.
perfect, dude. Yeah, I totally see all that. And I mean, I love it. And especially the New York scene's really popping off. I've been lucky to work with some small bands and big bands out in New York,
Hmm.
a bunch of different genres. And it really does seem like a great scene. My
Yeah.
question for you would be like, you mentioned Black Midi. I think Black Midi's kind of known for their horns. And I think I love to see bands explore is kind of that sharp, harsh brass or horn section, whatever you want to call it. Is
Mhm.
that something you guys may want to explore in the future?
Totally. I mean, we're kind of open to most things. I think um the thing is with those things is we'd love to have like a live set of brass, which is an opportunity that we'll come across eventually. But um look at I mean, we all go to a music school. We met at special music school in New York. So we do know a bunch of brass players. So we can make that happen for sure. I mean, I do love that kind of sound as well. So we'll see. I mean, there's some cuts on the record that aren't done yet that could benefit from that. But I will say we have explored, without saying too much, orchestras,
Mm.
into our music. So,
I've totally heard that. And I'm a violin player, so I love
hell
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
exploration. Are you like a high schooler or college or?
yeah. I'm a senior year high school, man.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I'm a freshman, so.
Oh, word. Okay. Yeah, you're what, 15?
Yeah, man. And so you're
Cool.
18?
I'm 18. Yeah. It's
Nice,
crazy. You're
nice.
so young, getting all these fucking ridiculous features on your thing, man. It's
Well,
awesome.
I could say the same for you, dude. I mean, what, 18 with like a great band already, plenty of
Thank
listeners.
you. Thank you.
It's awesome. And I mean, like, usually I ask small bands about the prospect of touring, but I mean, you're still in school, maybe a little bit tough. How
Hmm.
are gigs in New York? Maybe like the local scene and especially the DIY scene.
I mean, right now we've only played two gigs actually, and one of those gigs were yesterday. I don't know if you saw on our
Yeah,
social
I
media,
did. Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. But our first gig we did at just like the basement of a church. I feel like that's the cool thing about New York when it comes to like rock music is that kind of anything could be a venue almost. It's
Hmm.
like there's a very vibrant thing of just like people who just want to get together and play loud shit. So we're kind of involved in that, and we're trying to get more involved in that. But I mean, recently, we've had two gigs just because we're kind of getting our foot in the door, but now the floodgate kind of opened for us, and we're planning a bunch of gigs now into the future, and we're doing some cool stuff. And I mean, yeah, we did yesterday. We did a gig at like an art gallery. We just got hit up by like a magazine company, a friend of a friend. She's great, and we just played like an acoustic set there. And so I don't know. We'll do anything that we think is fun that we think could get some ears, But definitely our favorite thing to do, even though we've only done it once, is to get like a packed basement concert. Those are always fun because I feel like the way we perform, even though it definitely doesn't help my throat, which loses power in like 5 seconds, but um, we love to have a lot of energy when we perform. So like our first concert, which was at Stone Circle Theater, the turnout was great. We got a bunch of people to show up, and then we just fucking blasted music. I was just screaming. We were having fun, and it went great. So hopefully we'll keep developing in the venue scene here, and we'll get some cool gigs.
Yeah, man, I really hope so. And I mean, at least you have a lot of opportunities in New York, you know?
Yeah.
After this, I'm definitely gonna send you some people that would hopefully get to help you guys out a little bit.
Hell
But
yeah, man. Thank you.
yeah, it's great to see, and it's kind of hard to ask a new band, like what are your plans for vinyl or CDs or merch or whatever. But I mean, you guys already have a pretty strong following, which is definitely impressive. And so, I mean, I do have to ask the question, is there plans for some kind of merchandise in the future? And I mean, vinyl always seems like unlikely for smaller bands, but it seems like you're kind of coming up on that area where vinyl is definitely something that's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I also just love the vinyl culture and I
Real.
love owning vinyls. So I mean, the thing is with Gwen is like we're so busy at this point. It's like because we're in high school, but like we're we really want this shit to work.
Hmm.
I think all of us are really like we think what we're doing is worth it. We think what we're doing is good. So we're putting a lot of time and energy in it. But that being said, we have so many ideas for merch, and it's just like probably once we get a break from making the record, advertising the record and also performing, we'll be able to do that kind of stuff. But vinyls is like that's like a dream for sure. I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure, dude.
that'd be really fun, especially designing the inside of it and all that would be super fun. And then, but in terms of like clothing, we're already working on stuff. So for like clothing and stuff, especially because our lead guitarist Nick, he is into the fashion scene and like clothing scene, and he does a lot of awesome design. So he'll probably be in charge of that. It's looking cool. So hopefully we get to a point where we can start rolling that out and making that more of a priority.
Yeah, man, that'll be awesome. I definitely rock that shit.
Yeah, word.
And I love seeing like good merch too, like
Totally,
you said
totally.
Black Midi, I mean shit, Black Country New Road, and they're an incredible band. But
Oh yeah.
sometimes I look at that merch and like it kills me a little bit inside. It's
Sure.
not to be materialistic, but I mean I think it really is important, just for a band,
It
like the
totally is.
vibes of a band, like the mood of a band,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Um, Now a little bit of like I don't want to say throwback question, but like a question for your younger self, right?
Mhm.
How did you get into music and how did you know this is kind of what you want to do?
Well, I mean, I've been writing music my entire life. I don't. That's never really changed. I've never really wanted to do anything else, which is a blessing and a curse, for
Mhm.
sure. But since I was like very young, I grew up with like my dad's a drummer, and he's been in bands, so I grew up with the culture. And then I just started writing as soon as I started playing the keys when I was like 5. And I don't know, I went through a lot of phases as a songwriter, but I think I've matured now into my own kind of thing and knowing what I want to do. And I don't know. I mean, I released some music and I've released music under 3 names in the past. For the sake of not wanting people to hear it because it's dog shit, I'm not gonna say what they were, but I mean they're dog shit in the sense of I'm sure that they sound fine and they can be good to whoever, but as someone looking back, I think it's pretty bad.
Mhm.
But I've always been releasing, but now that when it comes to Gwen, like I feel like I found the spot that I'm really comfortable in. Um, and yeah, I mean, I just love doing it. So
I'm definitely very glad to hear, I think there's longevity to this project that could definitely, yeah, hopefully this is the kind of thing where, 5 years, 10 years, people look back on this interview and like, oh, what the hell? That's him. That's them.
hopefully, yeah.
Like, that'd be awesome. Now, Gwen, right? I think that's a pretty interesting band name in the grand scheme of band names. What's like the backstory behind that?
Yeah. It's cool how much we get asked this question. Even like it just like every fan who we or like after a concert we talk to some fans and they're like, Gwen, what's all that about?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it started off pretty unserious, I think. I'll give you this little insider information. Our first rendition of our band name was Horse Helmet. Um,
Uh,
it's a weird name for sure, not
yeah,
very good.
it's
I don't know
not
why we
it.
wanted to yeah, don't know why we wanted to do that. But then we were really like excited by the idea for some reason of like having a band name that's just like an everyday name, almost like because Gwen is just a girl's name, and so we what we did is kind of just we talked about you know different names, and actually the name Gwen came from an ex-member of Gwen. It
Oh,
came
shoot.
from a guitarist. We're still chill with him and everything, but
Oh, okay.
it came with a yeah, it came with a guitarist who had to just he was busy, he couldn't do it anymore, but at the time he actually came up with the name, and we just thought it was cool because we thought it was kind of ominous and unique. Um, and what we wanted to do is take this name and kind of develop a character-ish from it. And I won't spoil too much of what that is because it's kind of given in the album a little bit,
Mm,
or it's expanded. But Gwen is kind of an idea, and it's a bit of a symbol that we're kind of building upon. But one of my favorite things we've ever gotten asked as a band is that we finished a gig yesterday, and some girl came up to us and it was like, you guys are fucking crazy if the reason why your name is Gwen isn't because there's a girl called Gwen that dumped all of you and broke all of your hearts. And I was like, that's kind of badass.
I mean,
But
that's a great story right there, though.
totally, that would be a great story. I'm like, unfortunately, it's not that cool.
Well,
Um,
you still have time to make it a dream, though. So,
no, totally. Maybe we all find a girl named Gwen and we all like we're all like, all right, listen, we're gonna have to like do this thing where you break up with all of us. Just no, but yeah, so that'll develop. But at its heart, I really think we just thought it sounded cool, and we kind of
sure,
developed it from there. So,
sure. I mean, it's interesting. Does that mean that your upcoming album is a concept album? Is that what I'm hearing from this?
uh, it's more of a themed album than a concept album.
Uh-huh.
It's definitely not. It's not following a story or anything, but it's definitely themed. And I think it's not really we're gonna outright say what Gwen means, but we'll over time we're developing that idea. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's interesting for sure. And I'm excited to see how it expands and grows because I don't think I've heard a band that kind of does that with their, I don't know, backstory. Because, Ghost does the what cult thing.
Sure.
And then you have like Slaughter to Prevail, where it's like one guy, like, and then the rest of them masks. So
Mhm.
this is like a really interesting kind of turn on that traditional band theme that we see every single day.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad you think that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like all I, that's kind of all I have. I mean,
All
I wish
good.
you guys had more out, and I wish that you keep growing. If there's one gig you had to play, or I mean, I had to, but like one gig you wanted to play, you wanted to open for someone, who would that be and why?
Actually, we've thought about this for sure. I think right now, because they're in the New York scene, and they're probably our favorite band from New York right now. Opening for Geese would be fucking
I
cool.
knew you were gonna say that.
Opening for Geese would be fucking
Yeah.
cool. I don't know. The thing is with becoming like a starting band is it's like it's really hard
Oh yeah.
to get attention. And the thing is like I think hopefully what we're doing is like unique enough to garner attention. But we're always we're trying to find a label and that gets kind of hard. And I don't know, it's you got to be kind of lucky with the right connections, and we'll see how things go. But we really want this to take off. And I mean, yeah, man, it's been fun, and I mean we're gonna keep doing it. So
I'm definitely glad to hear. I think Geese would be like a really great support act, but it's funny because Geese is the support act. Like
right.
they're an incredible band, yet like the past two tours they've done have been with King Gizzard
Yeah, and then
and with
Vampire Weekend,
Greta
Red
Van
Van
Fleet.
Fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like I think it's honestly kind of hilarious because 50% of the reactions are like, hell yeah, I love this. Let's keep going. 50% of the reactions are like, what is this dog water? Which is, I mean, kind of shows the duality of good music.
totally.
But I think you have that kind of weirdness, which is a good thing. Honestly, I love just the exploration, like we talked before, like of genres and of different attitudes and styles. I really like the industrial part.
Hmm.
What other things would you try to, maybe you don't have to like spoil it from your new album, but what are things or sounds you try to explore further on into your career?
I mean, it's really like what I think is very liberating about Gwen is that we're not afraid to whatever we're listening to just add. Like I remember "Keep Me Alive" was weird, our first song, because it started off as just like an indie rock song, right?
Mm,
But we were we were just like we were in a studio together, and one of us just made a joke like, "Bro, imagine if this had a Jersey Club beat on it," and it was a joke, and then we
yeah,
added it, and it was fucking gas, and so we kept it, and we just have it. So now that song has a Jersey Club beat. So it's really just like no guessing what we're gonna do.
tough.
But we we definitely like what are we into right now? I think we're into a lot of ambient stuff right now.
Oh
And
shoot, like
we
what?
I mean I've been loving Aphex Twin. All of us love Aphex Twin.
Yeah, I gotta put you
Um
on my boy Loscil.
okay.
Loscil.
Okay,
Same
okay.
Scott Morgan out of Canada. Shit's fire.
Hell
Like
yeah. All right, I'll
he's
check
a
it out.
very dear friend. He's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, and Aphex Twin, I mean, it's kind of crazy, like such a niche artist getting so famous, like so
Yeah,
viral.
totally. Yeah.
It's almost like Jordy Griep, like it's completely unexpected and yet it still happens. And even Cameron Winter, like with the solo project, when I interviewed
Mhm.
him, there's very little hype around the album, which I thought was insane because it was an
Right.
incredible album. And then slowly it started building more and more. Now what he has like he has more monthly listeners than
Then
Geese.
Geese, yeah.
Yeah,
I clocked that, yeah.
which is like diabolical. I think everyone wants him to do like a full tour, which is kind of that hype that you guys could definitely get, if
Hope
you just
so,
keep
man.
pushing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, that's kind of it. That's the introduction of Gwen. I appreciate you joining and I appreciate you asking me to do this. This was
Yeah, I
great.
mean, I just checked out, the band checked out some of your interviews. I mean, I came across you just from the Cameron interview.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is cool. This is a cool kid. And we watched some of the other ones. You interviewed Frog. We love Frog. That's fucking
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Dude, that was a really
Um,
cool one.
yeah, that was a fun one. And then fucking the I'm rectangular guy, right?
Yeah, I know, because
That's insane.
I was supposed to get Jordy,
Mm.
and I had guest list for his Atlanta show, but it got iced out, and they still had the
Ah,
show, but
that
I couldn't
sucks.
go. And so I was like, I want to do something or someone associated with grief. But he never has one singular band. Every
Totally.
tour, it's been a different band. Every like area of the United States is a different band. So I couldn't really do that. And I was thinking, it's I Am Rectangular. That's the only guy I can possibly talk to. And he
Hell
was
yeah.
also like a nice ass guy.
No, word, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I really appreciate you joining me.
Yeah,
Everyone
of
is watching,
course.
so definitely check out Gwen. And I'm excited to see what you have in the future, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks so much. It's been great.
Of course. Have a great night and check your Instagram right after this because I'm gonna text you some important people, okay?
Cool. Thanks so much, man. I'll
Yeah.
see you
See you,
later.
dude.